Is the Mediterranean on your cruise travel to-do list for this year or next? Welcome to RTE Travel Talk, Ask a Real Travel Expert, the show that talks to travel professionals around the world. And today we're diving into one of the most popular cruise destinations in the world, the Mediterranean. Joining me once again is travel expert Christy Fitzharris of Wheels Up Travel and Cruise. Christy has handpicked her top 3 cruise lines for exploring this incredible journey. Regent Seven Seas, Explora Journeys, and of course, Celebrity Cruises. Together, we'll break down what makes each one of these options unique and which might be the best fit for your Mediterranean adventure. If you enjoy the journey with us today, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode. And if this video has got you inspired, drop a comment and join the conversation. We always like to hear from our viewers. Thanks for being part of our travel community, whether you're a longtime fan or just dropping by. We really appreciate it. And now, on with the show. Hi, Christy. Welcome back to RTE Travel Talk.
Hi, Ken. It's great to be back.
Wonderful to have you. So, Christy, I'm really looking forward to today looking at 3 of your favorite popular cruise lines in the Mediterranean, specifically because we're heading off to the Med next year on one of these particular cruise lines that you've chosen. So I'm really looking forward to getting your thoughts on these 3 particular cruise lines, and they're Regent Seven Seas, Explora Journeys, and Celebrity Cruises. So can we spend some time today talking about those 3? How does that sound?
Let's do it. That sounds great.
Sounds like a plan. So let's start with the big picture. What makes the Mediterranean such a sought-after destination for cruisers, do you think?
Well, I think that it's a place that you can go over and over and have a new experience each time. And you can go to the same ports on a different cruise line and have a completely different experience than you did the last time you were perhaps in Barcelona. And so I think that a lot of clients will go multiple times, and it's really also great for families, couples, friend groups. Anybody can go to the Mediterranean and have an exceptional time, especially when there are so many different cruise lines sailing there that also provide varied experiences.
Yeah, no, I get that. There's just so many destinations and sights and sounds in the Mediterranean. You could probably go back 4 or 5 times and still not see it all.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you've narrowed down your top 3 for the Mediterranean. Why don't we begin with Regent Seven Seas? What sets them apart when exploring this region?
So Regent Seven Seas really just makes cruising easy. For the luxury traveler, somebody interested in a luxury experience, they are going to allow you to step on board, never take out your wallet again, know that everything is taken care of through, embarkation all the way to debarkation, sometimes beyond that if you opt for their air package, but they just make it seamless. You're going to be well taken care of. You're going to get into smaller ports because they have slightly smaller ships than, the big lines, and they're going to provide a unique, beautiful experience.
Fantastic.
No matter who you are.
Yeah. Now, Explora Journeys is another luxury line, and they're kind of the new kid on the block. What's the scoop on Explora Journeys, Christy?
They're the new kid on the block. Right now, they've got 3 ships in operation with 3 more coming online in really quick order. I'm showcasing a sailing on, I believe, Explora 1 today, but they are really going after the family market in the luxury sector. Okay. And no other luxury cruise line is doing that. And I think they're a spectacular option for families and for couples. Yeah. Of course, if you don't want to be around children, you can avoid it by choosing your sailing dates carefully. But if you do want to travel multi-generationally or with your own children, it's a great option to have an experience that the adults are going to be satisfied with, but also keep the kids entertained.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. And they've also got, I believe they have what's called the Nautilus Club on board for the younger folks. So yeah, it's rare. They're one of the few that's doing anything to do with families, really, when you get to luxury.
And it's so popular that in the 3rd version of the ship that they released, they doubled the size of the kids club and will continue to make family-friendly expansions throughout the remainder of their deployments.
Fantastic. And finally, we've got Celebrity Cruises. Now, Celebrity Cruises is classed as a premium or even an upper premium cruise line. How come they make your top 3?
They make my top 3 because they really offer a well-rounded experience for the multi-generational traveler. Right. So grandparents or adults can be in the retreat, relaxing. They've got their own pool up there. They have lots of things to do throughout the day. They've got great enrichment talks in a lot of these ports. They have game shows, they have major stage shows. They have a huge variety of dining options available. There is something for everybody on board a celebrity cruise, and there's a wide range of pricing available too. And so it's my favorite of those premium cruise lines that offer something for everyone.
No, exactly. And they've actually got quite a number of ships in the Mediterranean, and those brand new Edge class ships with the retreat on board, so if you're looking for a luxury experience, you can book into the retreat. So there's all kinds of options with Celebrity Cruises. So Christy, why don't we take a look at a number of itineraries and kind of line them up side by side on a 7-day cruise and see how things look. How's that sound?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, sounds good.
So for these cruises, I selected 3 itineraries that were a little more unique than your standard Barcelona to Rome Mediterranean sailing. This is for a more adventurous traveler, somebody who wants maybe a more exotic destination, or they've already done Barcelona to Rome and they're looking to go beyond that. And so I'm going to showcase the Celebrity Excel. That's the newest ship on the Celebrity fleet. They're Forbes recognized for great service in their category. The ships are absolutely beautiful. I've sailed on not the Excel, but other Edge class ships, and I truly love these ships. And then I'm also going to talk about Explora 1 in the Mediterranean and a great itinerary on Regent Seven Seas. And what I'd like to highlight here is that just because the name of the ship starts with Regent Seven Seas or Explora and is in the luxury category, that does not necessarily put it out of reach price-wise. And that's really what I'm drilling into here with this comparison.
Fantastic. So where do they travel to?
Like I said, I'm picking some of the more exotic itineraries available. So on Celebrity, that's going to mean beginning in Barcelona and ending in Barcelona, which I know I said was kind of a more standard itinerary, but they're really branching out within those ports. And I love a departure from Barcelona because it's an extremely easy port to get to and board through. And so it's well located within the city. You're not traveling an hour and a half to get to the port. And so I really do enjoy departures from Barcelona. So in this case, we're going to go from Barcelona to Seville into Portugal for a couple of stops. We're going to be overnight in Madeira, and then we're going to go into Morocco, which is a nice touch to add another continent to your sailing. Then back to Palma de Mallorca, and then returning to Barcelona. And so it's an exotic but easy itinerary.
And what about Explora?
With Explora, this is a longer sailing. This 14 nights. We're going to start in Rome, then move on to Sorrento, Palermo, Tunisia. So again, touching that additional continent. And then I really thought this itinerary did a spectacular job of touching all of those small islands in this area. So Ibiza, Menorca, back to Barcelona, because you can split this itinerary into 2 7-day departures if you like, and that's why it's going to Barcelona. And then on to Marseille, Sardinia, Portofino, Florence, and Nice, and then back to Barcelona for an easy return to the United States.
Fantastic. And Regent?
This is the one I'm the most excited about. So we're going to start in Istanbul, move through multiple ports in Turkey, but then again, we're going to touch Africa with an overnight in Alexandria, Egypt. That gives you the time to take the 2.5 or 3 hour bus ride into Cairo and really spend a good amount of time there. And in fact, if you want, one of the additional cost excursions that you could add on this sailing would be an overnight at the Four Seasons in Cairo so that you can maximize your time there. Some of the included excursions will also go into Cairo, but you won't have the overnight. And so I love that they're giving you that option to have a more immersive experience there. And then we're going to go through multiple ports in Greece and then end in Athens.
That sounds like it's a really great way to get a sampler of Egypt.
100%.
Yeah. So quick pause, folks. Don't worry. I'm not long-winded. I just want to share our brand new channel memberships. For just $1.99 and up a month, you'll get fun perks like badges, early video access, travel webinars, and even travel opportunities with some of our experts. It's a great way to be part of our travel community while getting a little extra along the way. Just hit the join button below for more details. And now, back to our show. When we look at these 3, Christy, how do they stack up inclusions-wise? What's included on each one?
So they all have different levels of inclusions. Of course, the higher in luxury you get, the more inclusive it is going to be. Regent across the board includes everything, including a special feature that I'll talk about at the very end of our slides here. Okay. Explora is going to include just a little less. They do not include excursions or laundry. That is really just because Explora positions itself as a luxury floating hotel. They want to target those cruisers or potential cruisers who haven't cruised before
Right.
and want more of a resort style experience. And they don't include excursions largely because they expect their travelers, in a lot of cases, to handle their time on land themselves.
Right.
So they'll offer a shuttle into the ports and you can explore on your own. That's a lot of my clients who only book land travel want days built into their itinerary where they can explore on their own. And that's what Explora is allowing them to do here.
Right.
And then Celebrity in the retreat, which is price and the room category that I'm quoting here. The retreat's going to include a few things like Wi-Fi and beverages, but you'll still be paying for excursions and gratuities out of pocket or additional to the cruise cost.
Now, just before we move on, we should mention that because we talked about the retreat a couple of times here. So what the retreat is really is Celebrity's kind of ships within ships concept where folks in the retreat, they have their own specialty restaurant. There's a set of staterooms and suites set aside specifically for that. So it's almost like being on a small luxury ship, but you're on the bigger ship and you get to take advantage of all those great other amenities that only a big ship really can bring to bear, right?
Exactly. And that's why it makes it a exceptional intergenerational traveling setup. Or it's just great for somebody who wants a little bit more going on those sea days. If you want to go to a game show or a big show or have a lot of music opportunities or the extremely varied dining options, Celebrity's a great fit for that.
So and a great example of that on the multi-gen, you've got grandma and grandpa. Well, they're used to the smaller ships and luxury, and they have the affordability for that. They can book into the retreat, and if they want to then foot the bill for the kids and their kids, they can take other cabins on the ship at a more economical cost. So it really works well.
It does. And something that's unique about Celebrity's ship within a ship section is that they will allow you to bring guests who are not in the retreat to dinner.
Right.
You have to let them know in advance. But if you want people to come into the retreat to have dinner with you in Luminae, their specialty restaurant, you can do that. It is very difficult to achieve that on the other cruise lines who have ship within a ship suite sections. That's another bonus for those multi-generational families.
Absolutely. That's a great tip because people want to get together for dinner.
Yes.
So continuing on with what's included, what do we have?
So again, Regent, they're including everything. They just make it easy. Explora, they're going to ask you to pay for your laundry. In some categories, very high categories, you won't pay for laundry on Explora, but so many of my clients love the entry-level cabin on Explora because it's 377 square feet and it is a true suite and it's absolutely stunning. So I find many clients don't feel the need to upgrade on Explora. And so in that case, you're paying per piece for laundry. And then on Celebrity, laundry, again, not included. Specialty dining, if you want to go outside the Luminae or the main dining rooms, you'll pay about $60 per person per meal for specialty dining. And then the other two lines do include thermal spa access and Celebrity doesn't. So I've added that cost in here.
Okay, perfect.
And so ultimately you see that the pricing for Regent does stay the same. This is I believe a 10-night sailing, $16,790. That's a great price for a luxury cruise, especially considering all that is included. Explora is at $21,520, but it is a longer sailing. So we're going to talk about the cost per night in a second. But Celebrity ultimately is the most expensive at $21,768 once you go to add in the excursions, the thermal spa access, gratuities, everything else that's not included.
Right.
And so what I really like to do for my clients to make it more clear is to break it down per person per night. And so you'll see Celebrity is the most expensive, followed by Regent Seven Seas, but the experience on Regent Seven Seas might be worth the slightly higher premium than you're going to pay on Explora to potentially be away from the additional children that you'll find on Explora, or to have just that 1% higher level of luxury that will be on Regent versus Explora, and Explora coming in at an exceptional value of $768 per person per night. Considering all that's included.
Once again, it really pays to have your homework done on why the services of an expert travel advisor can come into play to map all that out for somebody, because that's a lot of research to get to that point. And it's actually kind of surprising when you look at Celebrity, right, that they actually can be roughly the same cost, and in some cases a little bit more than a luxury line.
Yeah, I chose cabin sizes that were fairly similar. And if we do take a look at the first slide, you'll see cabin sizes across the board are within about 50 square feet of each other, which is a big difference in a cruise ship cabin, 50 square feet. But just to keep it kind of as level as I could.
Sure.
I chose cabins that were in the mid 300 square foot
Yeah.
range, true suites, and coming with those extra services like are available in the retreat on Celebrity. But I want to point out kind of one additional special feature that Regent is going to offer you, and that's why I have the asterisk next to that their per person per night price, is that in the category I quoted, which is a concierge level suite,
Mm-hmm.
they are going to give you a one night hotel stay pre-cruise. So it becomes more of a complete cruising package. All you have to add to this sailing now is your air. You don't have to think about anything else. Regent handles it all.
That's a big bonus because you always recommend that people go in a day before the cruise. So and you're going to need a hotel.
Exactly.
That's really worthwhile. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, Christy, you've sailed with or reviewed all of these cruise lines.
Mhm.
What do you think stands out in particular for each one? What would be a highlight of each one? I think you probably mentioned it with Explorer, the size of their entry level stateroom. But what about Celebrity and Regent?
And I agree with you 100%
Yeah.
on Explore with the entry level suite. It's stunning and it really
Mhm.
sets that line
Yeah.
apart. That's also kind of my design aesthetic. So
Yeah.
another thing that we might want to talk about is, what do you want your ship to look like? Explora, I really resonate with Explora. I think it's
Yeah.
fantastic. With Regent Seven Seas, I just love the seamlessness. They take care of everything. And if you are considering a Regent Seven Seas sailing as a multi-generational family, there are kids programs all summer long on almost every sailing in the Mediterranean and then on all Alaska sailings. And so if you're interested in traveling with your grandchildren or your children on Regent, don't hesitate. There's programming for your kids, and sometimes they even let kids sail for about $900, which is a wonderful value because it still includes excursions and everything else. I really love that aspect of Regent and how they're helping families, but also you can still sail with Regent and not have too many children on board. And then with Celebrity, I have taken my daughter on Celebrity and we just had the best time. She loved the kids club
Yeah.
more than she loved the Disney ships kids
Wow.
club.
That's high praise.
And so yeah, so I had an opportunity to enjoy the ship as an
Yeah.
adult and with my family, and there was so much for her to do all day, from the pools to the game shows to smaller games that they'll set up for families, special activities they have available. She loves the silent disco. I love the silent
Mm.
disco, and then there are just so many options on board.
Oh, fantastic. So, for many of our viewers that are considering the Mediterranean for their very first cruise, which of these three would you recommend for a first time cruiser?
That's very difficult to say.
Mm.
I would love to talk to that person and get to know, what do they want to do while they're on board? How do they see their days going on a sea
Right.
day? Do they want to sleep in? Do they want room service? Do they want things to do all day long? There are a lot of questions I talk to my clients about to really dial down which cruise line might be the right fit for them. And maybe it's none of these.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Windstar. Maybe there's so many great options that it's really a conversation that we like to have before we make any decisions like that.
So, long story short, what I've taken from this conversation we're having today is it pays to have somebody do the research and do the cost comparisons, because
Mhm.
once you start adding things back to get it on a level playing field, that can vary widely from what you first see when you look at a particular cruise. It's just excellent insights. Christy, before we wrap up here, is there any piece of advice for someone you booking a Mediterranean cruise that you would offer?
Initially, I would say call a travel advisor. If you have any questions
Mm-hmm.
or you're not sure what the right fit for you is, definitely call a travel advisor. We love to talk cruising. I love to talk cruising. I'll help. But additionally, I would make sure that the ports that you are about to visit align with your interests. And that's why I wanted to highlight some of the more exotic ports, some of the more unique itineraries that are available, just to show that it's, not always just Barcelona to Rome,
Yeah.
or it's not always a circumnavigation of Greek islands. And so really get in there, dig into those ports, make sure they align with your interests, do your research, or hire a travel advisor to assist you with determining which ship is going to be the right fit for you.
Perfect. So, for those watching, if they wanted to reach out to you about a particular cruise in the Mediterranean, Christy, how would they do that?
So you can always call me or send me an email at the information that's showing on the screen now.
Mm-hmm.
But the best way really to reach me is to use the link that will be in the show notes. That's going to allow you to schedule a time to talk to me, to guarantee that I have 30 minutes at least set aside for you, so I can get to know you, get to know your preferences, and make sure we make the right match for your cruise.
Sounds great. I'll leave that information in the show notes for those folks that may like to reach out. But as always, since I like to live vicariously through all the travels of these people I get to meet on this show, I have to know where you're off to next.
My next adventure is, since I mentioned my daughter so much in this video, we are headed out on the newest Disney cruise ship on its third sailing in December, the
fantastic.
Disney Destiny. And we're gonna get to be on an inaugural, technically. And then after that, in June, we're taking a group on the Nile River with AMA Waterways.
Oh, fantastic. Both sound wonderful. We're big fans of AMA Waterways here at RTE. We'll have to have you back to regale us with your adventures and compare notes on how you got along with the secrets of Egypt and the Nile with AMA Waterways. How does that sound?
That sounds great, Ken. Thank you.
Perfect. With that, Christy, I'm just going to wish you safe and happy travels on all your future cruises and destinations. May the wind always be at your back. And I hope to see you on the Lido deck of a Regent or Celebrity cruise ship sometime soon in the future.
Same to you, Ken. Thank you.
Take care. Bye. And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Christy Fitzharris of Wheels Up Travel and Cruise. If you'd like to reach Christy, I will leave her contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can simply send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com or simply drop a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, a like, subscribe, share, and ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps other folks just like you to find our content. And if you're really enjoying our content, we hope you'll consider becoming a channel member. Your support really helps us to continue providing those expert travel and destination interviews you've come to know and love. So until next time, folks, happy travels.